this boxing video, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate some of the movements that I'm doing while boxing. Now, when coming to power punches are combinations but the jab. You want to do a pivot on the foot. And with the foot, the pivot is going to be on the back of the foot. That was a pivot right there on that foot. That was a pivot right there at the end. The pivot's a turn on the front of the foot. Now, when it comes to rotating, you can rotate the hips. That's a rotate. That's also a rotate on the hip. That would be considered rotating. The hip area, and then this would be the pivoting area. So when it comes to pivot, the pivot would be the foot area, and the hip area would be more the wrist level. With punches, they're looking to come from the face and come back to the face as much as possible. Sometimes if you don't feel like you have the good punch or you're going to get hit first, you can just move out the way. That's another way to make it more realistic and punching the heavy bag. Most trainers, to make it more difficult, challenging, will tell you to hit the bag where you see the symbol and only hit the bag where you hit the symbol. If you notice on the mouse, the symbol's more up here on the bag, and they'll ask for you just to target the symbol and not the empty space, which is like the space with no symbols in it. That's one way to make it more challenging. You want to be able to move both directions around the bag, one side and then the other. Combinations are going to be 2 punches or more. So anything that's 2 punches or more would be considered a combination. With the combinations, there is no break in between. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by a single power punch at the end. Jab, 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 jab. Jab, 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 jab. The jab is going to be the lead punch, the punch that's closer to the opponent. That would be considered the lead jab. With power combinations are going to be punches put together that don't include the jab. With the jabs, you can pump them out and move to the side. With the way moving around the bag, you want to be in a position where you're close enough to hit the bag, and also you're avoiding not getting hit by the bag as well. You don't want to be getting knocked down, or you don't want to be falling down when you're getting impacted by the bag. You want to be in a position where you can land the punches. Now, with Training outside the hitting the bag, you can utilize shadow boxing, which is just going to be hand and fist movement, and you don't need all the equipment. You don't need to have the training gloves. You don't need to have the punching gloves. You don't need to have the boxing bag. So that's one way that you can do drills is by shadow boxing. When it comes to boxing, shadow boxing is necessary. The training, you're gonna need some empty space. You don't want anything on the ground or anything on the floor because it's gonna require you moving. Normally, you throw punches in the air, and with shadow boxing, you have the opinion to enjoy it or not enjoy it. I definitely enjoy it. I see the benefits that comes from it, especially when treating it as if it was a real competitive scene. That's combination one, combination one, two, three, four, combination one, three. With combinations, you simply just want to make sure that it comes off in the face area and returns back to the face area as well. That first combination was a jab, jab, straight. And notice that the combination that I'm kind of like starting off with right now, they're kind of basic. The first one's combination one, jab, jab, straight. The second one's combination two, one, two, three, four. Then I'll add a combination three, one, three, two. Doesn't necessarily have to be combination one, two, three. Combination one could be jab, jab, straight. Combination two could be one, two, three. And combination three could be one, two, three, four. But those are the kind of three combinations that I see starting off with all the time whenever I do a kind of a shadow boxing hit the bag. And whenever doing the boxing and shadow boxing, it doesn't necessarily have to be all offense. And what I mean by that is just throwing punches all the time. You are allowed to practice defense, head movement. And also, you can incorporate a 1 pound dumbbell or a one weighted plate just to add a slight bit resistance, but nothing to like kind of injure yourself or give you kind of a strain on your back or neck. If you don't enjoy the weight at all, don't include it. Just something that you can just leave out. If you're one of those people where you see the advantage of the weight, just try to use the 1 pound. I know at the gym sets they can offer two or three, but it's up to you where you feel more comfortable. One way that I swing the it faster, the weighted plate, I actually use my hips and rotate when it comes to providing more support so I can throw those punches. Pivot, pivot. It is really important whenever you if you want to be able to use the weight properly or to move the weight fluidly, try using the hips and pivoting as much as possible. Turn your body weight into it. It would really help out with being able to move the weight and the punches the way you want it to. This is going to be a 2.5 label. When I throw it up in the air, I catch it with a different hand, and I try to imitate that. It's a punch that I'm coming back with too as well, and coming there with. That one I was able to get one punch before the weight dropped on to back to my hand. Throwing the weight up is not something that I recommend or give advice. Sometimes I do it for more of a show or more for just to show kind of an advance that I've been training for a while with shadow boxing, and I'm able to use it kind of like an object where I can like throw it in the air like a basketball, throw it in the air like a baseball, and return it back to me. Please don't feel like you have to use weight. All this can be done without the weight. With the weight, I switch it from one side to the other side just so I can practice. So, for example, if I'm doing one combination, I practice the weight with in one hand, and then I'll repeat the combination and practice weight with the other hand. That way, both hands had a chance to practice it with the weight. Try to make sure the punches are actually coming out properly too as well. You want to make sure it's come out nice and neatly, like extend it all the way out, extend it all the way back in, make it look proper. And once again, if the weight's too much or it's not something that you really want to use, go ahead and line it up with the weight or just remove the weight as well. I have some experience to do with shadow boxing. I've been doing it for a while. That's why I'm able to incorporate some of these weights. And one way I'm able to rotate it fast is I swing my hips into it and use the pivot. Kind of like a if I had to use an analogy, kind of like a baseball player would throw a ball, how they would pitch it into it, and how a baseball player will swing their hips into it when hitting it. Sometimes when you're doing the same combination, 3-4, 3-4, which is a hook repeatedly, you could start off at a slow pace and start increasing your pace into it, or start gradually increasing the speed into it, kind of like the phrase "get the ball rolling." Another reason too why I throw up in the air is just to give it more of a challenge to rotate it with my hands. If you don't want to throw it up in the air to transfer it, just place it in the other hand and continue the workout. One thing that I find fascinating about boxing is be able to put it all together. The shadow boxing, the hitting the bag, and put it into one realm. Now, when you're shadow boxing, you can use both dumbbells in the hands. That's how most trainers will actually see you. Sometimes they put it in both hands. What I noticed too, doing it one-handed is able to make you go faster, and also does help out a bit. So try to use that as an option to make you better, and see which ones you enjoy. You are allowed to switch out. You don't have to stick with the same weight for the whole entire month. Sometimes when I throw a hook, especially in a combination, I like to step in with that lead hook just so I can have enough power to slam that last punch in. I hope this video helped you out. Please subscribe so I continue making more.